Sima Guang, courtesy name Junshi, was a high-ranking Song dynasty scholar, official and historian who authored the monumental history book Zizhi Tongjian.Sima was a political conservative who opposed Wang Anshi's reforms. Early life. Sima Guang was named after his birthplace, Guang Prefecture, where his father Sima Kai served as a county magistrate in Guangshan County. The Simas were originally from Chia County in Shan Prefecture, and claimed descent from Sima Fu in the 3rd century. A famous anecdote relates how the young Sima Guang once saved a playmate who had fallen into an enormous vat full of water. As other children scattered in panic, Sima Guang calmly picked up a rock and smashed a hole in the base of the pot. Water leaked out, and his friend was saved from drowning. At age 6, Sima Guang once heard a lecture on the 4th century BC history book Zhao Juan. Fascinated, he was able to retell the stories to his family when he returned home. He became an avid reader, to the point of not recognizing hunger, thirst, coldness or heat. Sima Guang obtained early success as a scholar and officer. When he was barely 20, he passed the imperial examination with the highest rank of Junshi, and spent the next several years in official positions. Professional life. Sima Guang is best remembered for his masterwork, Zizhi Tongjian, and Rafe de Crespigny describes him as perhaps the greatest of all Chinese historians. In 1064, Sima presented to Emperor Yingzong of Song the 5-volume Lineage 2. It chronologically summarized events in Chinese history from 403 BCE to 959 CE, and served as a prospectus for sponsorship of his ambitious project in historiography. These dates were chosen because 403 BCE was the beginning of the Warring States period, when the ancient state of Jin was subdivided, which eventually led to the establishment of the Qin dynasty, and because 959 CE was the end of the 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms period and the beginning of the Song dynasty. In 1066, he presented a more detailed 8-volume Tongji, which chronicled Chinese history from 403 BCE to 207 BCE. The emperor issued an edict for the compilation of a groundbreaking universal history of China, granting full access to imperial libraries, and allocating funds for the costs of compilation, including research assistance by experienced historians such as Lu Ban, Lu Xiu, and Fan Zuyu. After Yingzong died in 1067, Sima was invited to the palace to introduce his work in progress to Emperor Shenzong of Song. The new emperor not only confirmed the interest his father had shown, but showed his favor by bestowing an imperial preface in which he changed the title from Tongji to Zizhi Tongjian. Scholars interpret the mirror of the title to denote a work of reference and guidance, indicating that Shenzong accepted Sima as his guide in the study of history and its application to government. The emperor maintained his support for the compilation of this comprehensive history until its completion in 1084. For the late 1060s, Sima came to assume a role as leader of what has been identified as a conservative faction at court, resolutely opposed to the new policies of Chancellor Wang Anshi. Sima presented increasingly critical memorials to the throne until 1070, when he refused further appointment and withdrew from court. In 1071, he took up residence in Luoyang, where he remained with an official sinecure, providing sufficient time and resources to continue the compilation of Zizhi Tongjian. Though the historian and the emperor continued to disagree on policies, Sima's enforced retirement proved essential for him to complete his chronological history over the following 1.5 decades. Contemporary accounts relate that when Sima Guang was writing his great opus, the Zizhi Tongjian, he slept on a log to work more and sleep less. He called this Jingzhen, and used it throughout the period of Zizhi Tongjian's compilation. Death. Emperor Shenzong died in 1085, shortly after Sima had submitted Zizhi Tongjian to the throne. Sima was recalled to court and appointed to lead the government under Emperor Zhezong of Song. He used this time in power to repeal many of the new policies, but he died the following year, in 1086. Achievement. As well as his achievements as a statesman and historian, Sima Guang was also a lexicographer, and spent decades compiling his 1066 Lipian dictionary. It was based on the Shuowen Jiezi, and included 31,319 Chinese characters, many of which were coined in the Song and Tang dynasty.